Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
And we are live. Welcome, everybody. It's Open Mic Sunday. And we have our usual guests here. James Lee, creator of the Steins, while we still have him. Going to be missing him after a couple of weeks here as his job has decided they need him more than we do. And they're going to pay him more than we do, which
it is quite significant.
I can't blame him. So, and then we have Mike Walters from the Mike Stand is on here with us. Both these gentlemen have projects to which we have linked in the description below. So, please do check them both out. Smug Pug in the chat. I'd jump on RJ, but I'm half asleep. Just need something to listen to. Well, listen to something about the vocative comma. because you just said you'd jump on RJ. I'm kidding. I knew what you meant, but some people might think, never mind. Not that there's anything wrong with that,
right?
As Jerry Seinfeld would always point out. So, wow, we missed last Sunday because I was tired, and I'm tired this Sunday. But you know what? I've missed the last 2 nights because I was driving all night Friday, and then I was doing tech support all night Saturday. And after 30 years in IT, I'm like, boy, I'm so glad I dodged the bullet of ever working in the help desk, because they'd come in and find me hanging by a USB cable in the phone sometime.
Oh boy.
So what is going on this past week? I feel like I've forgotten how to run StreamYards entirely, not being on for 2 days in a row.
Or 2 weeks. Yeah.
Not too much. Got to do some drawing. Basically, I've got 2 of the covers that I want for the Steins books that are coming, that we're working on for next year. So I can show both of those right now. So I got both of them right here. So.
Well, let's give you a big screen. That's Steins book 3 and 4.
No, this is comics. This is
the comics. Yes.
Comics. So this is cover for issue 1.
Very, very cool.
Okay, so that's the count himself. He was young. And then this is issue 2.
Oh, you're going to follow in the footsteps of that old the Marvel headshots thing that they did?
Well, for the first 2 issues, the third one's going to be something different. But this is the lovely Countess, his wife, Nina. So you'll get to see her finally. So those are the 2 covers we've got right now. Working on cover 3, and I've got a couple pages already drawn, so it's coming along really good.
I was going to say covers are nice, but you got to have interiors, right?
Yeah, well, I've got a colorist and I've got a letterer. So hey, so that's I already got that lined up. So good pricing. So hey, I don't mind paying. So that's what we're doing on that. Also, Steins are on sale through Halloween. That's right, paperbacks on the website, $10 plus shipping. Hardbacks, $20, and Steins 2 hardbacks are already sold out.
Yeah, and you know what? Amazon has them on sale as well because they notified me about it. They're like, "Hey, you keep looking at this book." I'm like, "Yeah, keep grabbing the link."
And the thing about the ones on Amazon, they're running low also. I think they're like in 2 and 3 books each, so they're fixing to sell out as well on Amazon. So doing really good. I can tell you this: the Steins number book 1, 12,500 copies.
That's a good run.
So it's a good run. Book 2 is already at 2,500.
Well, speaking of books, I couldn't find my copy of it because it's packed away somewhere, and I was going to find it and drag it back down here to Arkansas with me this past weekend. The last thing we did was The Devil You Know, an anthology of short fantasy stories featuring people's encounters with the devil. It was far more successful than I thought it would be whenever I was, putting it together, because I thought there'd be like, struggle to get 10 submissions, and then I had to struggle to keep it down to 20. So we had a lot of people submitting to that one because we had done Gods and Services, which was the struggle to get to 10 when we did that. But then people saw, oh, they publish, and oh, they pay. So the Devil You Know came in. So we've started the ball rolling now on The Devil You Know Better. The cover art's being sketched out now for approval, and we have 2 people already interested in being involved in this project. One is a man named Mike Barron, whom you might know, and the other is a fellow named Hart Fisher, who has something to submit. So,
one more thing, for Mike's pleasure, because I've been waiting several years to get this book. It finally found it.
I'll give you a big screen because I can't see it in the glare there. Flash Gordon Zeitgeist.
I've been looking for that for like 5 years.
Is that an Alex Ross cover?
Yes, it is.
That is very cool.
This is number 9. I have all 9 issues.
When did that come out? I mean, it had to be 90s.
No, 2011.
That's fairly recent.
Yeah,
Like 10 years ago.
Yeah, George Peter Gatsis in the room. Hello, sir.
Hi.
but it is a fantastic book.
Or as some people say, oh no, not George Peter Gatsis.
That's me.
Hi, George.
That's me. That's a spicy meatball.
Hey, I was watching you while I was driving the other night with now who?
Denelli.
Yeah, Denali, and you had the Shadow. The Shadow returns.
Yeah, we're gonna have was it all 6 or 7 episodes of the 30s and 40s. I just sourced them out, but I have to clean them up. I mean, I really have to do a lot of cleanup because the darks are too dark. I got the video that you saw, that was unique. It doesn't exist on the internet. I actually touched it up. Touched up the levels and stuff like that, so you can see the details in the darks.
Well, that's public domain, George. If you're going to go ahead and do all the cleanup and everything, you can just say, now that we've all watched it, and you want it on DVD, send $5 plus shipping and handling to George Peter Gatsis at PO Box.
Oh shoot! Really?
It's public domain.
Oh, I keep forgetting. Jeez.
That's why you can always go to the dollar store and buy Spanish Superman cartoons from the Fleischer Studios.
Oh, gee whiz. Okay, I'm gonna have to reevaluate my life story now.
That's a whole new whole new.
Or what you could do, George, is if you are looking for some talk about some vintage stuff, you can always drop by my stream on Fridays when we're going through like old comics that way.
No, we need our energy because it's Friday night at 11 o'clock and Saturday night at 11 o'clock. It's exhausting doing more than one stream in a short time space.
It's exhausting to do more than one stream in a week.
Hey, George, have you caught Graham Nolan's streams for the last few days where he's doing his 30 Days of Horror for Halloween?
Now, who?
Graham Nolan.
Oh yeah. I know it sounds familiar, but I didn't hear the name. It sounded muffled there for a second.
Mr. Creator of Bane and Alamo.
Yeah, Alien Alamo.
Yeah, he did first morning. The first morning was Them, 1954.
Yeah.
The second one was the 1954 Godzilla. He went over Gojira and Godzilla. And then today's was the 1932 King Kong.
Oh yeah, but you can't see them on screen. He just talks about them.
No, he shows clips of them. But the thing about the 1932 Godzilla, they've completely restored it and put all the scenes back in. So
yeah, I got that. I got that Criterion cut.
Yeah.
DQ
I've got one that's a combination of Gojira and Godzilla, so you can like watch them side by side and see when they stop and throw Raymond Burr in,
Yeah,
and then go back to the original movie again.
That big black box set.
Yeah.
The 50th anniversary. Yeah, I've got that too. But no, in Godzilla, I mean not Godzilla, but King Kong, they put basically her running around without any clothes on.
Wait, what?
Yeah, when they were in the water. Yeah.
In 1932, they did.
Yeah, 1932, Fay Ray shows skin.
Wow.
Yeah.
I always thought that she looked that way in some of the stills when she's like sitting in his hand and everything. Like she looks like she's like nude.
Yeah,
come on. In 1932, showing skin was like showing ankles.
Well, you got to remember also this. This was before the code went into effect. It didn't go until 34. So they did a lot of stuff on screen before then. I mean, they were doing full frontal nudity and everything back in the late 20s, early 30s.
Well, I've got to go back and revisit King Kong because I think I've only ever seen it on television.
No, see, if you've seen it on television, they edited a lot of stuff out.
I would imagine.
There's a unedited. There's like the uncut, restored version. That's the one you want to see.
Well, I'll add it to my collection of things that I had never seen before that had to get on DVD.
I remember that movie.
What's the title to that King Kong? What's that title cut?
There is uncut, restored, 1932.
Uncut historic. Okay.
I will say there's one thing I've been keeping busy at this week. We have done the complete fulfillment and all delivery has been done for Life on Korra number 4, which is this one. Otzi, Inner Talents. I almost said Otzi and the Ritual. That was the other one. So
have you got the Embrace yet?
I have not got the Embrace yet. I'm waiting for the Embrace to arrive. But tomorrow I'm going to finish packaging up the Sin Killer from Marv Studios. So those are all actually they're all packaged up now. I'm just waiting on some flats tomorrow to put the artwork in to keep it flat, hence the name. And a couple of larger custom sized boxes for the retailers who are getting like 20 copies. I want to make sure that they're, not going to shuffle around. So they're going to be in a box that's just right sized for them. And then Tuesday morning, they will be mailed out.
Hey, Smugpug in the chat says, how are George's jokes today? He was on fire the other day on my show. Well, in honor of Smugpug, my girlfriend's dog died. So I tried to cheer her up by getting her an identical one. She became more upset and she screamed at me, "What the hell am I supposed to do with 2 dead dogs?"
It was identical. Oh, one of these days we'll see George do live stand up. That'll be the show.
It'll be an empty room.
Okay. Here's another one. A group of dogs is a pack. A group of crows is a murder. What is a group of Karens?
A group of Karens?
Yeah. A homeowners association.
Oh, but yes, okay, yep. The homeowner.
Yeah, I'll go with that one. Yeah.
I don't get it.
That's not a joke. That's a reality.
Yeah, it's all the fat chicks that are just sitting home doing nothing.
I always it took me like 5 years of reading Neverwhere before I got the joke that Neil Gaiman threw in there about what's the collective noun for a group of bankers? A wunch.
Actually, if we're talking performance pieces, as it were, a little aside that I'm doing tomorrow night on my show, instead of doing normal niche newscast, as kind of requested by some of my guys, Leto in particular, because Leto was suggesting that maybe I should actually try to start writing for Critical Blast. But I've never been a big writer myself. I've usually just more preferred verbal commentary. But a few years ago, I did actually start to try to write a story, like with the intent of at some point maybe trying to turn it into anime or something like that. So I will be reading, from that.
You're going to be reading some original stuff then.
Yeah.
That'd be
That's
cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So so that's one of the things that I've got coming up. And of course, I also have my historical comics retrospect. I have that all pretty much planned out for the remainder of the year. So,
can you still all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I got the notice that my mic came unplugged and plugged back in, and I'm like, it's USB. What did I do? I bumped the computer. Something's loose somewhere, but
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Okay. One more to go on a high note. What does a bad gynecologist and a healthy dog have in common?
Oh boy, here we go.
a wet nose.
Ooh.
I think these jokes are just over my head, I guess.
oh,
No,
yeah.
I went under the table a long time ago.
Oh man. Okay, yeah. That's
Yeah, he's going out on a low note on that one.
Yeah, that wasn't a high note, George.
Yeah, that's the gag, right?
that
was a low note for sure.
Reminds me of
I
the
have
old Rita.
no idea what that was about. It's probably better I don't know, right?
Reminds me of the old Rita Rudner joke when she was doing stand-up in the late 80s. Like, I've got to go to my gynecologist tomorrow. I'm really nervous, but it's okay because he's old and his hand trembles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's like the guy that had Alzheimer's walking into the doctor's office. Doctor goes out and he goes, "Sir, what's the matter?" He goes, "Doctor, you don't understand. I have Alzheimer's." "Yeah, I understand that. So what's the problem?" "Well, I married this beautiful blonde bombshell girl." "Okay, what's wrong?" "She's waiting for me at home, but I don't remember how to get home."
Yeah, I forgot where I live.
Mm-hmm.
What was? Is this we're just gonna start telling jokes tonight because I can keep going.
Okay. The WHO now says that COVID-19 was spread through a dog urine. Yeah. It was a lab leak.
Oy.
Ooh, that was.
So there was the guy who fell in love with his gynecologist. You already screwed that one up, real major way.
What's a guy doing at a gynecologist?
Fell in love with his proctologist because that's the way he walked through life. He kept making like regular appointments for checkups, and finally the proctologist caught on and said, "Get out of here! I don't swing that way. Don't come back." A week later, he walks in. He says, "I'm in real pain." She's like, "I told you not to come back here." "No, I'm really in pain." And so the doctor says, "Okay, fine, but this better not be anything funny." And he, goes back in there and drops trowel and bends over, and the proctologist starts feeling around and says, "Ow!" He pulls out, and there's he's like, "Holy, no wonder you're in pain." He starts pulling stuff out. He's like, "There's a dozen long-stemmed roses up here." And the guy says, "Read the card. Read the card."
Oh God.
All right. Okay. My dog.
What's bad about that one is, and this is honest truth.
It's probably happened.
Yeah.
No. But somehow, some way, this guy ended up in the hospital, and he had his, the cord for the iPhone.
Yes.
It was up his, not his butt, but up his wee wee.
I saw that X-ray.
I didn't see it. I was like,
that's insane.
Yeah, I'm like,
it's real. I mean, I wasn't making this up. I was like, this really happened. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh, I was in the kitchen and I slipped. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
That's not a slip. That's more like, oh boy.
I'm like, I've had a stent before for kidney stones, so I understand that the capacity for expansion. That cable will fit, but what about that dongle?
No, the question is when they take it out.
Oh, they have to cut.
Oh gosh.
I forget what the disease is, but you do know about that procedure where they stick the up the and it has little barbs and it basically cleans up.
All right. Okay,
Yeah.
jeez. All right. Yeah.
I know a guy who went in the army and had that done. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
right.
No,
All
I actually saw videos on that as a medic. This is what happens if you don't take care of and be careful of what you
All
play
right.
with.
Anyways.
We're assaulting Mike's virgin
Did you
ears
guys
here.
did you guys hear that Joe Bennett didn't actually sit out long,
No,
after normal sack?
I know the moment Art Thibert hired him. I mean, I knew that right off the bat.
Well,
So,
Art came
wait,
and
are we
hired
talking
him
comic
too.
books again? I
Yeah,
just
we're
want to
gonna
make sure.
we're talking comics. But no, I mean, Art Thibert picked him up. I mean, he's already done the cover and everything. I've already seen the cover. I mean, he wasn't going to be. They weren't going to let him. No, we weren't
No,
going
he's
to
too
let him
talented.
fall apart like that. No, I mean, Marvel did this right after he finished the Hulk run.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Well, from
This is Marvel. This is how Marvel gets rid of somebody. And basically, Independence and everybody like that saw him coming out, and he is a really talented artist, so they picked him up. And then you have that group with Bet Bruce jumping ship. So you got a whole bunch of more. You got 8 or 9 artists jumping ship to do their own thing, and I know Brett Bruce one of them.
Yeah.
So,
saw that.
I mean, you're seeing mass people leaving the companies. I mean, I know David Finch is working with Todd McFarlane now, so I don't know if he's still over with doing stuff with DC. But Greg Capullo is pulled away. He's with that other group.
I heard something interesting the other day too, James, and you'd be able to speak to this probably because it's a Spawn thing. Is it true that Spawn is still $2.99?
Yes.
Okay, so how is it that Image, which as good as they are, there is no way that their entire combined distribution on a normal time, not with Spawn #1 release or Spawn 300 release, but at a normal time, there's no way they should be able to match what Marvel and DC have for a publication numbers.
Yeah,
they can.
They are. You got to understand the big books like Spawn and what Silvestri's doing and stuff like that. Those are still big, and you got to look at the books that just came out the last month. Spawn was 5 of the top 15 books.
Yeah, because I know they just did that whole King Spawn universe thing. Hello, Heroinberg. Welcome.
But I mean, you got to understand.
Hey, good evening.
You're dealing with, and it's not Image you're dealing with. You're dealing with McFarlane. McFarlane is a master at promotion, a master at sales. He knows how to sell a product.
Okay.
Push a product.
I get that they sell, but you would think that Disney and Warner Brothers, as big as they are, would they're getting subsidized for the paper cost.
No. Hold on a sec. Guys. You're comparing apples to oranges. McFarlane, James here will confirm it. McFarlane, he doesn't carry the overhead that all these other guys do.
No, he's right. He does. He doesn't. It's just like with my publication. Okay, I don't ship anything except off my website. So when Amazon places their orders, I don't have anything for them. They get that directly from my printer. That's how people get the books in Australia, in New Zealand, in Europe, and all like that. My printer has printing companies in those countries, so they can print the books there and ship them from there and not from the United States. So he's doing the same thing, and that's how he's keeping his costs down. McFarlane is a brilliant tactician. He knows marketing. He learned marketing when this all went down. And when you have, and Silvestri's basically riding right behind him. And look at what Silvestri did. He did an omnibus of darkness. Where did he take it? He went to Kickstarter. I mean, he saw what McFarlane did on Kickstarter, so he took his omnibus to Kickstarter with Image. But the thing about this is they're still producing books. I mean, not all of Image, but I'm talking about McFarlane and Silvestri are producing books that have good stories with good art. And good stories with good art always sell.
Be right back. I'll be right back.
And that's the main thing with what they're doing. And it's working. I mean, you can see the numbers. I mean, right now the Spawn book, all the regular Spawn issue, King Spawn, now with Guns Universe, Spawn Universe, Gunslinger Spawn. So he's doing like 5 different Spawn books, and they're all coming out. And he's basically said that he is going to launch this universe of Spawn, and he's going to try to get those numbers back up to where they were back in the 90s. And if anybody can do it, he can.
Okay, but
Marvel
my
and
initial
DC
point
should-
was that I was trying to build to was why can DC and Marvel not sell a book for $2.99?
Oh,
Overhead.
it's overhead. It's overhead. You have to understand, when you're paying, you have a bottom line, not just books, but I'm talking your bottom line, your payroll. Your payroll with all the artists and all the stuff that he, compared to what Todd has, he can sit there with 10 people, maybe 15 at the most, and do what he's doing. DC, Marvel, they've got 200-300 people working for them, maybe 4. I mean, they used to have bigger numbers, but DC canned 600 of them last year. I think they're going to can a lot more come the end of October. But when you have that big overhead, you've got to pay payroll. So how do you settle payroll? Well, my sales are down. I need to generate cash, so I'm going to raise my cost. It's not a printing cost that they're paying for. It is a production cost.
Yeah.
Of what they have to pay for their artists, because I have one book that's selling 150,000 copies. I have 2 other books that are selling 20,000 copies. So I've got to offset the payroll. See, it's the payroll is payroll. Like right now, like I was talking about, I went and got a colorist and I went and got a letterer. I know what I have to pay them to do my stuff. So I have to look at how many books I have to sell, how much it's going to cost me to do the books before they even get to the printer, and figure out how long it's going to take me to raise the money, how am I going to do it, how am I going to pull this off, and I've got to budget to do it. Marvel and DC right now are doing the same thing. They're looking at everything because fiscal years usually end in October. Fiscal years.
Yeah.
Okay. So now they're looking at how did we do last fiscal year? Did we make a profit? Are we in the red? My guess is they're both going to be in the red.
Well, I know that Marvel. I'm pretty sure Marvel's in the red because I know that Tug did a video on it the other day.
I'm not bashing them. I'm just saying they're both probably going to be in the red. And at that point, they're going to say, okay, what are we going to do to fix this? Now, last year they got, I think one got $10.5 million in the U.S. non-payback loan. The other one got like $8.5 million in a non-payback loan. I don't see them getting them this year. But I think what you're going to see is they're going to look at, I'm going to take DC, they have, I think, 32 issues now running. I think they're going to drop it back down to 20. And I think you're going to see about 225 people get released. That's why you're seeing writers and artists jump ship, because they know it's coming.
Well, yeah, because all the writers are going to Substack, and all the artists are doing their own things now on Indiegogo and Kickstarter.
Right.
Well, they know it's coming because shit doesn't get planned out overnight or in a week. They're looking at their agreements long term.
Well,
3 months, 6 months ahead.
Well, see, this is how DC works it. I know this for a fact, or this is how they used to do it. They used to have a powwow on the last week of October, and they got everybody together, especially if they were working on Batman. And you had your group of Batman over here, you had a group of Superman over here, and so forth. And they would plan out a whole year's storylines. This is what's going to happen this year. What are we going to do? This is how they did the death of Superman. This is how they did the wedding. This is how they did everything. And that's just how they planned it out. Now, this is why. And I'm going to use a book that's really toxic. The I'm Not Starfire book. They held that book back for 12 months from its original release date. The reason they let it go was the minute AT&T sold Warner Brothers and DC Comics to Discovery, every red flag in the book went up, and they had to push it out to try to make some kind of money, which they did. I didn't buy it. I mean, I looked at it and I put it back on the shelf. I didn't care for it, but they had to do it. They had to do it quick. Now, this October, I think the Discovery representatives, and you got to remember, Discovery is a European company. It's not a Hollywood company. They're going to come in. They're going to look at the books. They're going to say, "What's going on? We want answers. We don't want BS. We got to fix this. We got to make this thing profitable, and we're going to take a hatchet to the company." They're not going to scalpel it. They're going to take a hatchet. And when they go through things and they say these books are not profitable, they're canceled, you're going to see writers and artists gone. And then they're going to talk to everybody else. You got to make this stuff profitable because we're only going to give you so long to do it.
Yeah,
and
I had to entertain Preston Acevedo there while you were talking, so I brought in Hedge McMahon for a little bit.
But that is basically what's going to happen. I mean, it happens in every company. It happens, and no company is too big to crumble and fall. And DC Comics and DC Comics, Marvel Comics, if they do not change their ways of what they're going to be doing, I'm going to say this right now: 5-10 years, DC Comics and Marvel Comics will be a shell of a company.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be doing just a few graphic novels every 3 months, and that's it.
Yep.
They're not going to be the kind of companies they are right now. And anybody can get mad at me all you want. I mean, SPW's get mad at me. Tim, whatever his name was, that deal with DC.
Well,
I don't care.
They still have to, James. They still have to. They still have to republish all of their IPs every now and then to keep them.
That's what I was saying about the annuals. The graphic novels every 3 months. They're going to put out a book every 3 months. That's going to be about 80 pages, and that's going to be about it. And it's going to be there. It's going to be holding the IPs down. That's it. They're not going to be the big company that they were. They're not going to be. They'll have probably 1 or 2 editors, and then you're going to have a small crew of maybe 40 people at the most, and it's going to be a complete wipeout.
I was doing some cleanup there. So
You saw. That's business.
I kind of private PC'd you on that one.
I was already all over it.
From somebody who's gone through this with a company back in the 90s, it really sucks. I ended up, it was this is myself, Kelsey Shannon, and another guy. We ended up basically buying the company because they were just completely. We got 2 books off, and then we broke up, and that was the end of the company. But you cannot run a company like what they're running right now. You have to run it where it's profitable. You've got to make a profit. And if you're year after year after year running in the red, then you're going to have major problems, especially with the parent companies being shifted so much. I thought AT&T was going to do it. I thought AT&T was going to come in and just lower the boom. But instead, they dumped them off on Discovery with Warner Brothers. Because AT&T, you don't know, AT&T took a $55 billion loss last year because of DirecTV, Warner Brothers, and DC Comics. I mean, that is a huge amount of money lost. And Discovery came in, they took Warner Brothers, and they took DC Comics, and I believe they took $5 billion in debt from them. So, that's just
right.
If you have that kind of debt, you have that kind of money, you got to do something.
And they're publishing books where they're trying to be, the indies in a way, with the sensibilities of the storylines and the way things go. And it's like, I get it. You're saying, what do the indies got that we don't got? Well, they have, these certain types of stories and certain plots and pacing. Let's do that. What they didn't do was, say, what do we got that the indies don't got? Oh yeah, a heck of a lot more sales. Let's keep doing what we're doing.
Well, the thing Marvel and DC have got away from was, and this happened I saw in an interview they were talking about, we want to make comic books for everybody. And then to turn around, they tell the person that was in the host, well, that comic book's not meant for you. Well, if it's not meant for me, then comic books are not meant for everybody in the first place. So your statement is truly a lie. You're aiming for a crowd that doesn't buy comic books, and you're alienating the crowd that used to buy comic books.
Yeah, that's not expansion. That's a complete switch, and it's a switch in the wrong direction.
I mean, you have a captive market. You had a captive market. You had a big market. And you basically told them, we don't want you anymore. We're going to go this way.
Yeah.
And so they went together. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Today, I read manga. I did. I mean, I got some comic books this week. Not very many, but I got some comic books this week. But the manga books came out today, and I got to read them all. And they're great stories, great art, which always sell. Great art and great stories make a great comic book. It doesn't matter what the comic book is. If you have a great story and a great artist, and you put both of them together, you're going to have a great book. And that's just the thing. If you have a great artist, but the story is just something that nobody wants to read, and it's not, it'll sell maybe issue 1, maybe issue 2, but after that, it's not going to sell.
You have Rorschach.
Yeah. The last couple of weeks, it's kind of funny how we're getting into talking a little bit about woke and all that. How a lot of times the SJWs like to cry, well, we need more representation and more diversity. But what I found over the last couple of Fridays here, as I've gone through, in the past, some of what they're saying doesn't really float much. Okay. It's the last couple of weeks. So this past Friday and the Friday before. Okay. So we've been going through May. As you guys know, a few weeks ago, I did, Action Comics on 1. But since then, of course, I did, read some stuff out of Dell. Not this past Friday, but the Friday before. And then some stuff out of Centaur. And, well, not David McKagan's there was, but anyways, to my point though, you go back to that golden age, right?
Right.
And one of the things that I was realizing when Batco and I were reading through some of the books, they had a lot of, it's not just in the action adventure genre either. It was also in the slice of life and humor genre too. They had a lot of strong, capable female characters in comics back in those days.
Oh, yeah.
You had, on the action adventure side of it, you had, Sandra McLean of the Secret Service, Dale Daring, Myra North, who we read, not this past Friday, but the Friday before, Myra North Special Nurse. That one was a good story. Actually, it's kind of funny because Batgoat initially thought there's going to be a soap opera-esque story like Mary Worth, but it wasn't. I mean, this, this was Myra North, solving a murder with her nursing skills, basically, or with her nursing knowledge.
That'd be a fun thing to do with all these characters that are in the public domain now. All these Golden Age characters. Heroinberg, you should look at these Golden Age female characters that weren't spandex clad, and maybe do a flashback episode of Heroinberg in the 30s.
Like Razor.
Okay, in black and white. It would have to be all black and white. Yeah, no, I could see that. Sure, that seems. We'd have to get some period costumes. Well, I mean, you made the suggestion, so I figured I would just kind of flesh it out. Yeah, but it goes all the way back to characters like Miss Fury and Phantoma. We could do versions of those. But and this isn't that old, but I'm a fan of Modesty Blaze, and I don't see I don't see anybody else mentioning her except Zach, your boy Zach. Every now and then says something.
They were talking about her on the UK bargain bin yesterday.
Modesty Blaze and
Oh.
Diabolique.
Yeah, Diabolique.
As
Diabolique.
I was saying too, aside from the the action adventure ones, and Hope Hazard being another one of them, even on the like humor slice of life side of it, you had some very strong, capable women there. Fritzy Rich, Ella
Blondie.
Cinders, Lollapalooza. I mean Lollapalooza, Dixie Dugan, Jane Arden, Lena Pry. On the more humor, like Mother Gibbet, Squibbly Gibbet's mother. And a lot of these very strong, capable women. They weren't always like, damsel in distress kind of thing, or like, we have to protect the woman.
Yeah, women were buying comics in equal numbers back then. They just bought a different kind of book than the boys did. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, and as you get into the 40s, particularly the late 40s, early 50s, you did start seeing more like romance type comics out there as well.
Yeah. And you know what? Women were creating comics then too. I mean, you're looking, June Tarpe Mills with Miss Fury, first female superhero, written and drawn by a female creator, who wrote under the name Tarpe Mills rather than June Tarpe Mills, so that it would be like, no idea who this Tarpe Mills guy is, but he's really good.
Well, I don't know, because I mean, I do know, I have seen a credit. I guess there was a woman back in the 30s there who was doing a few features. A Ruth Pumley Thompson, I believe, who was doing a few features for Centaur, I believe. Initially Comics Magazine, then Ultim, and then Centaur. So, like one of the stories I was reading the other night was actually a reprint from an earlier Comics Magazine book. It was a story of somebody called the Spinner, who I guess was somebody who would spin stories. And it was about
Ruth Plumley Thompson wrote the children's the Oz series, The Land of Oz.
Yeah, well, she also I saw in some of my research too. Mm-hmm. She's done a few of the comics too.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that's what she's known for. She was actually quite well known for doing that. So yeah,
I thought she sounded familiar. I just couldn't place it in comics. I'm like, I was just gonna go with it, but so that's where it's from.
Yeah, but yeah, so but I was just thinking, because the story we're reading was about this lady named Claire S. or Claire Claire Chalmers or Chambers, who ended up solving a murder mystery. It was the feature was called Spinner, and then the story was called The Case of the Broken Skull. It was a very interesting story in which, she ended up actually helping a guy keep from getting executed. A guy had ended up being convicted of murder on circumstantial evidence, and then she ended up finding out what really happened. So it was, but
it was a good story, though. It didn't matter who the lead character was. Yeah,
I mean, well, the point being too, though, is that we hear today how women need to be represented more. Women need this. Women need that. And I can tell you just from a lot of the research we've been doing, a lot of what we've been doing the last few weeks, I can tell you of a number of strong female characters from back in the 30s. You just have to go look for them. It's like,
oh yeah. Well, like, my favorite one is always going to be the Phantom Lady, a strong female character, written or at least drawn rather by an African American artist in the 40s. So all the representation we needed was right there.
Okay, guys, I'm going to take off. Thank you for having me, but I got to go.
We'll see you, James.
All right, take care, guys.
See ya.
So Lorenzo Sleestak's asking, didn't the Comics Code crack down on diversity? EC Comics had that book with the Black Astronaut. I don't know that the code had anything in it about not showing certain kinds of characters. But it, granted, it's been like 30 years since I read it over. It's been 40 years.
The Comics Code is no longer around.
No, but he's making the point that it made it less diverse then.
Yeah, but no, I think, as I recall, the Comics Code came about more to deal more with like the violence, the gore, and like sexual situations more than anything.
Yeah. It was, they were basically showing panels of from crime stories, and they'd be like, they'd show like a blueprint on a table. It's like, bank and ... window. And they're like, look, it's the blueprint for a crime. I'm like, okay. So they thought the people were basically going to take the comics and replicate the stories that were in them because it was telling them step by step how to do it.
Yeah.
Now this is, I'm going to, Mike, this one's going to fall in your ballpark here because this is the old comics history. Judge Charles Murphy demanded that the Black Astronaut be removed. EC Comics was socially conscious and they were definitely socially conscious and progressive for the
time.
I
hadn't seen it. Again, what you have to do prior to me starting this current little project that I've been doing on Fridays, I had kind of done this more with DC, like for my own purposes. So I know more about about DC stuff than like the other. I'm learning about the other stuff as we're running along, and and one of the things, and this is why I really would hope that you guys would consider dropping by on Friday, because I'm reading these and Backgoats with me. Like we're reading these stories. A lot of these books and stories that we're reading, I'm reading for the first time. Now, some of them I'd read like the synopses before, what have you, but I'm like reading these stories for the first time. And I'm sure, like, RJ, you grew up reading comics more, and I'm sure you probably remember, the idea of when you got that comic, the first time, right? You'd open it up and you'd get into it and you read it, and like that first time you read that story, just the wonder and amazement you probably felt as you got engrossed in that. You know what I mean? That's one of the things I'm kind of trying to capture with this retrospect as well. Just kind of trying to remind people of that wonder, being lost in those worlds, that we see through the comics,
Well, back when I was first reading comics, superhero seemed like a viable job description. So it's like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do when I grow up. I did find the story on the Black Astronaut. They did not pull the story. They were pressured to by Judge Charles Murphy, who was the administrator of the CCA. They came back and said, the color of the man's skin was the exact point of the whole story. Then they said, well, you have to get rid of the perspiration on his skin. It seems like it's exploitative. And, it says here that Feldstein and Gaines both refused to comply. The terms they used included at least one use of the word, the F word, and Gaines threatened a lawsuit if they continued to object to the story. So the story ran, but it was also the last traditional story that EC published. It was the collapse of the publication.
Well, yeah, as I remember correctly, when I did actually do some of my research on the Comics Code Authority, I'm not 100% sure, but wasn't EC Comics basically founded or run by the same guy who did Mad Magazine?
MC Gaines, yes.
Yeah. So because I do remember reading some of that where, basically with them cracking down with the Comics Code Authority, he had decided to focus more on Mad Magazine because he probably could get away with more.
He didn't need the pressure, and the people running the CCA were trying to enforce things that the CCA didn't say, that weren't written. Larry, Niobe Comics, how are you feeling today, man?
I said hail, brothers. I said hail.
Hail, Larry.
Hell, there.
How are you feeling, man? I know
I'm
you had-
sore.
yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I got like a 6-inch incision down my chest. It hurt.
What'd they do? Take your heart out?
No, they fixed a hernia, man. You know, they put like a little mesh in me, brother,
Yeeks.
like a fishing net, so it doesn't leak out.
Yeah. Well, you don't. Last thing you want to do is everything inside you leaking out somewhere.
Yeah, well, I don't need to be leaking. You know what I'm saying
No.
there?
No.
Does that substance eventually dissolve inside you, or what?
No, I think it's there for life, man. I mean, I don't know. I'll find out in a
shit.
couple of days when I go for my follow-up.
Shit.
He's going to go in 20 years and have it taken out after the television lawyers are like, did you have a herniated mesh inserted in 2021? If so, you may be liable for compensation.
I thought that was for the COVID vaccines.
Well, that's coming too.
Did you take a COVID vaccine 6 years ago?
Of course you did. You had to.
Man, what's going on? Open mic night. I see that we got W.S. Samuel L. Quinton III in the chat. He should be on here telling you all about 47 Furious Tales Volume 3 that just launched on Kickstarter 2 days ago.
Also known as that squirrel book.
Good God.
That's right.
Yeah, let him come in.
Let him come in. All he's got to do is click the link at the top of the chat.
The
He can
link
be
is
in
at
there,
the
man.
top, Sam.
There was somebody was asking earlier. Preston was asking if I was going to be fulfilling the and it got blown away by a spammer here. If I was going to be fulfilling Only Death Can Save Us and Mary Boys, to which I must say, no, I'm not fulfilling either one of those. I've not been asked to. I'd be happy to. I am going to be fulfilling Glenn Fleming's Jack Kirby book, so looking forward to working with him on that. And like I said, going to be getting the Sin Killer all boxed up tomorrow and ready for mailing out on Tuesday. So,
has that been a lucrative business for you? The fulfillment, has that been growing?
I've only finally got to do physically 3 of them. So no, right now it's an in the whole thing because a lot of the stuff I'm doing is still promotional.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are getting the promotion. Well, the first 5 customers got the promotional bags. So basically that makes, my profit margin down to a quarter on each unit that I ship. So, and they've been pretty much small runs too. I haven't gotten anything like here's a 200 unit run. I've got 100 and something books, but 10 were going to this guy, 20 to that guy, because they were all retailer tiers, which is great. I'm glad that retailers are buying them. But I don't make per package. It's the same price no matter whether they ordered 20 or they ordered 1.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. Hail, brothers.
But it will be.
I see some hails in the chat.
Yeah, Lorenzo's hailing us, and yeah, Lorenzo's hail Larry, George, Mike, and Herrenberg. I already greeted RJ.
Yeah, and I was telling him earlier, Larry, that I did this went out last week, and everybody who it was shipped to has received it. So
Epic.
So the Life on Core books are out, and that's another one where I wanted to make a good impression with the new customers. So while I had opportunity to work with Sticker Mule on a deal they had, I took his main character out of that book and I sent it in to get some stick pins made, and unannounced made those some unannounced goodies that went out with the books. So
Extra
everybody who got their, what's that?
Extra tchotchkes.
Yeah, extra tchotchkes, which you weren't even expecting because they weren't part of the campaign.
It's like
they
a
just showed
surprise
up
in
and
a cereal box.
yeah, exactly like the prize in the cereal box.
Well, word of mouth will spread. I mean, you delivered Jimmy's book, so
Delivered Jimmy's books. Going to be delivering Marv's books tomorrow. The Embrace is on the way. I'll just tell you everybody that I've got coming here. I mentioned Glenn Fleming's Jack Kirby book. Angels Awakening. I've got the cards in for that. The posters are coming, and then of course the books will be last. Doing Adventures of Tailless, Columns of Creation. Company Men is in December. That's going to be a big one because he's sold a lot of those. The Embrace, Glenn and Monsterland is coming my way. Incantessi #2 I'm going to be doing for Rich, and I'm going to be doing this Joe King book here sometime if that's ever done.
that's done by some guy named George, right?
I know. I think it's one of those schemes and scams thing. I don't think we're ever gonna
Schemes
see that
and
book.
scams.
It'd be different if he was like doing pages online all the time and showing people panels, but I never hear from the guy.
It's not like he's on the panel or anything.
Oh, there he is. Sorry. Just had a conversation Thursday or Wednesday, and nailed down that I will be doing the distribution for a Rabbi from Another Planet. And then Red Eyes 2, whenever that one's ready to fulfill, will be coming. So
I'm red eyes right now, man.
oh, are you?
Yeah, brother. I'm tired.
I am too, man. I did a lot of driving this weekend. So
Where did you go?
I went to St. Louis, and I'm coming from like Northwest Arkansas, so it's a 5-hour trip out there. Spend a day, 5-hour trip back today. Got back around 2:00 Eastern this afternoon, and I'm like, oh, I got to stream tonight because I didn't stream the last 2 nights. So it's you don't stream 2 nights in a row, you forget how StreamYard works and everything.
Oh yeah, man, you get rusty, brother.
Yeah.
Well, I pretty much do it. Well,
You do it every night, man.
I do it pretty much every week because I stream 5 nights a week, and then usually, at least for aside from coming here on Sunday, I usually take the weekend off. I'm not running a StreamYard. I'm participating in this one, of course, but I'm not usually running a StreamYard over the weekend. I usually stream Monday through Friday, so.
Oh, so Herrenberg, you've been kind of in the background here, a little quiet lately. Convention circuit.
Okay.
I mean, what are you doing, man? Where you been going?
Oh, yeah. Well, I already tell you about New York and Connecticut, I guess.
I don't think so.
Oh, cool.
not tonight.
Well, yeah, what we do is we do 1 or 2 conventions a month, whenever possible. And I go on the road with Marvin Wynn from The Edge. And
Yes.
if possible, we bring a heroine with us. So we were at Big Apple, and we had Arogia with us. She now lives in Brooklyn, so that was kind of easy for her. We went to Terrificon, which is very terrific, thanks to Mitch Halleck and all his great work. And I would say that's top 10 con. It's a top 10 con. It's not huge. It's just mid-sized, but it's so well done. You got tons of great creators there, both old and new, and very little pop culture detritus in the way. So yeah, we brought Arctica up there. Then we went to Morgantown, West Virginia, for Mountaineer Con. That was last weekend, and we did fine there. We picked up a couple new stores in West Virginia and Maryland. We're up almost to 190, close 186, 187, including a store in Kansas City. So now, if you count Belleville as part of St. Louis, I don't know if you really do, but it's kind of it's part of the metro area, right? We technically have 4 St. Louis. I'm sorry, 4 Missouri stores. 1 in Jeff City, 1 in Columbia, 1 in KC, and 1 on the outskirts of St. Louis. So that's pretty good.
Any one of those 4 stores is a long drive to the next one, whichever one you pick.
Right. Yeah. But the point is to spread out the love, right? And that's just in Missouri alone. So
where's the KC store so Atrocity Press can go pick up some Heroinberg comics?
Okay, very good. Well, you got to wait for about 7 or 8 more days because it goes media mail. But the books will be at A to Z Comics, which is the most recommended store apparently in Kansas City by several people, run by this very nice woman, Debbie. And yeah, so our books will be in A to Z Comics sometime late next week. As far as stuff coming up, we just had a really busy weekend. One of our ladies got married at the Warhol Museum.
She's gone.
That was really fun last night. And today I met with guess who was in town also for a different wedding, Jesse and Jeff from Mindless Entertainment and World Class Bullshitters. We got together and met in person for the first time. That was fun. So, and I guess last but not least, coming up, we have a couple cons, one in Altoona next weekend and one in Pittsburgh the following weekend. And we're planning to go to Akron Comic-Con and hang out with our buddy Ted Sikora. That's his home turf there. And as you know, we share an actress who also cosplays for his book. So she'll be coming with us. And then this is a weird and interesting con. This is the final one that I'm going to just list. We're outside of Boston over Thanksgiving weekend at a place called Northeast Con, run by a guy named Gary Summers. So I guess we'll see how that one goes. Just a weird way to spend Thanksgiving weekend, but it's a long drive. We'll see what happens, whether it's a successful thing.
It's odd to hold a con on Thanksgiving weekend because that's first of all, Thanksgiving the Thursday always has been, always will be. But,
yeah.
So I'm guessing you mean like the Friday and Saturday after that?
It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So Black Friday.
Yeah. A con held on Black Friday. I mean, maybe the guys, and it's done inside a hotel, about 30 miles outside of Boston. We'll just have to see whether in Boxborough, that's the name of the suburb. Maybe it's more like an exurb, I don't know, or a suburb. But in any case, yeah, we'll just have to see how that one works.
There's no admission to that being in a hotel. If you just advertise it like as a Black Friday con, that would be interesting. You might get some people in there. Sam, I didn't see you sitting down there until I scrolled down. I'm like,
Sam.
oh crap, there's somebody there.
Hey guys, this is
How
looking
you
like
doing?
looking like the usual suspects all of a sudden.
Yeah,
It
Max
is.
is here.
Max, Larry,
It's a
Harrisburg,
Bullet Club raid.
I'll tell you.
So those Furious Tales, man, tell us about them because we get a different audience here than.
Oh yeah. 47 Furious Tales, man. The story of the 47 Ronin, told through anthropomorphic animals. Bloody action, and it's a 12-issue limited series. First 2 issues are out. We've been shipping to not as many stores as Heroinberg yet, but we're working on that. And thanks in no small part to Heroinberg sharing some information. By the way, that was really nice. Appreciate it, man. And then
No problem.
Then issue 3 is on Kickstarter. We did been doing a lot of live streams and talking with a lot of people, and we're seeing a lot of good results. 71 backers. We're just about to hit hour 48 in the campaign. We're about 32% of goal. So it's been a hell of an opening.
Drop your link in the private chat. I'll throw it out here and take a look at it.
I'm putting it up right now.
And when you say it's anthropomorphic, this isn't like a funny animal comic of the samurais. This isn't like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles today. These are realistic looking squirrels.
Well, no, they're more anthropomorphic animal characters actually. So you've got like kind of more like TMNT or Usagi Yojimbo.
Yeah,
but we've got a really
But not as goofy.
Yeah, not as goofy. That's really what I was going for, I guess.
Yeah.
Definitely not as goofy.
I think we've got a lot of people here in the stream who actually have that book too. So there's it's been making its rounds. I'm really excited to see it. We've so far, counting the Kickstarter campaigns, the 3 convention appearances, and then the shops that are carrying the books. Issue 1 has sold 1,285 copies to date. So trying to keep pushing that,
How does it do at cons?
Congratulations.
Last con was a game con, and we still sold 73 copies
Sweet.
in a convention that was targeted for board games. And the one before that, we sold 185 copies at the of issue 1 and issue 2 combined at the Garden State Convention. So
Excellent. I was just wondering because it's there, they can see it, they can touch it.
And that's the big selling point too. You put it in someone's hand and they kind of stop for a second.
I'm here. They can see me. They can touch me.
That's how you got to do it. You have to place the comic book in the hand of whoever makes eye contact with you and comes within a foot or 2 of the table.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's it. You say you touch it, you bought it.
No, we don't do that. But more than half the time, unless of course they were just being very polite, they'll pick it up, especially if it's $5 or less.
Oh yeah, and that's what with the construction on these books, people are falling in love with them as soon as they hold them. So it's been
Yeah,
really
that satin finish is great.
I know, right? Isn't that great?
Yeah, it looks nice.
Feels great. It feels just the touch. It's almost It's just smooth and silky, almost velvety.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we're using the same finish on all 12 issues. And then with this campaign, we've also got the artist edition, which collects the uncolored, unlettered, raw inked pages that Alexia did for the book and puts them into one 92-page volume. So it's got all those for the first 3 books and then the character design illustrations. It's been a pretty cool thing to put together and see come to life.
So 3 days in, and you're a third of the way done.
2 days in.
2 days in.
Yeah, we're just finishing our 48th hour here in about 11 minutes. Went live with Max Friday night.
Yes, sir.
Just finishing 48 hours.
Very cool. This is number 3. So I'm guessing the people there's probably a tier here where people can get 1 and 2 as well.
Well, actually, the digital tier, the first digital tier gets you 1 through 3 in digital for $5. So 72 pages of comics for a real nice digital one. The digital deluxe gets you that and the artist edition for 10. And then there's a couple of different tiers in there where you can get all 3. There's a great catch-up tier for 1, 2, and 3, all signed by Alexia Veldhausen and myself. And there's several tiers that have that in there. Plus, there's add-ons for the various variant covers, and then a little bit of everything, really.
Yeah, here's a catch-up tier for 1 through 3 physical. I'm not sure which covers yet, but $25 for 3 comics.
That includes shipping.
Yeah, that covers shipping too. So
that's shipping in the United States too. Yeah.
Oh wait, so that $25 is including the shipping.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a heck of a deal.
Yeah. Well, I print bigger runs so that we get that economy of scale, and that's how we've been able to, get books on the shelf pretty effectively. Not just for comic shops, but also we've got deal with comics mainstream. My buddy Adam Watson owns Dark Slinger Comics, and he's actually managed to get us into marijuana dispensaries in Oregon.
I was going to say that's the guy who's putting spinner racks up in not comic stores, but places where people might buy comics at an impulse.
Yep. And so we've getting some good impulse buy. My first shipment out there was 300 copies. So we're still selling through those, but probably won't take very much longer.
Yeah.
Well, as I understand it, wasn't there a time when smoke shops, marijuana shops, whatever, were actually the places where you'd probably go to buy more like indie comics?
That was real common in the 60s and the 70s, particularly.
Very much.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. They need something like the Fabulous Story Freak Brothers
exactly
in there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I remember the head shop near our house. Selling Freak Brothers type books for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you could get High Times there, and they'd always have Heavy Metal Magazine, your local indie stuff. All kinds of cool stuff. And oddly enough,
you get records there.
Records and stuff by Charles Schultz, Peanuts books and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because these guys wanted to read something while they were getting.
You could buy your hookahs and your water beds also sometimes at those places.
I never saw one that had a water bed. Plenty that had hookahs in it.
Yeah, a lot of great tiers on here, and just a ton of great art. So that you got rabbits. It's not just squirrels. You got rabbits and foxes and pandas,
monkeys. Yeah, this issue 3 focuses a lot on the conflict between the Samurai of Asano and the Grey Wolf Bandits, while Asano has just begun his trip to Edo. And this is a very action-packed issue. But actually, more than half of the 24 pages are dedicated to the action in this.
Oh, nice. Now, how far do you see this going, Sam? Before the epic is wrapped up, or do you
it's 12 issues. It's
12 issues. Okay.
Yep. It's already been outlined. Scripts defined. Everything's laid out. 12 issues in total. We just gotta fund art, get them made, and get them out.
Very cool.
How do you determine which parts of the story section you're going to use? Is it just like the main things, or is it just like the things that are driving the story that you've already got? Because the 47 Ronin story is big.
Yes, it is. And so there's stuff from the historical records that's really really missing a lot of data, and part of that's because of wartime activities that have occurred over 3 centuries. There was a lot of information that was actually stored in a museum in Hiroshima. Of course, that evaporated. But when you look at some of the literary resources, not just the Japanese literary resources, but also English adaptations and adaptations from Dutch traders, particularly, that later then translated into English, you get different little segments of the story that kind of take shape. And there's still big gaps that we had to kind of fill in with what makes sense about what probably happened in the meantime.
So you've
But
got
the history is
you've got a lot of artistic license there then.
Yeah, the Gray Wolf Bandits were an artistic license device, because one of the things that kept coming up was that the samurai were having to deal, the samurai in Eiko, while Asano was on his way to Edo, were having to deal with some problems with some bandits that were causing some difficulties. And it probably wasn't as epic as we wrote it here, but we needed something that was suitable for a comic audience.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? So it's very much, brought up and dialed up the action. Didn't really dial it up to 11, I'd say, but we dialed it up to a solid 8.
To 11.
We're gonna save the 11 for the storming of Kira's castle, Kira's mansion, rather.
So are you going to focus solely on this book with your publishing company right now until it's done, and then go to another book, or are you looking at doing like side books in parallel to this so that you expand?
We've got two
titles?
other books coming out, 2 other series coming out next year at least. A
Okay.
third one that we will, if funding permits, and then plus the role-playing game materials that we've got scheduled for release next year as well. So this is on 47 will keep being on my personal Kickstarter account. The RPG materials are migrating to the Sinopa company account.
Very nice. I put the link back out there again. I know Heroenberg already had it out there once, but it can't be out there too many times. People, go check this Kickstarter out here. This is you're going to get so deep into it that there's not going to be a catch-up tier available with hard copies. So
Right.
get there while you can. Still get it. Story is a quarter of the way done with 3 issues. So, and you say 12 issues. You never know when there might be that annual, that one-off, that special issue that occurs within the world of 47 Furious Tales, and it needed an expanded telling, an expanded chapter.
We get that question. We get that question a lot. Yeah.
12 issues is a whole omnibus.
Oh yeah.
Getting that together into one big book at the end is going to be an interesting printing challenge.
Hardcover.
Definitely. Actually, we've got a stretch goal on this campaign for the artist edition. If we can get to that stretch goal, it'll make the artist edition a hardcover itself. So that'll be a great experience to be able to put that in people's hands.
Yeah,
So do you plan on doing artist editions every 3 books?
Every 3 books, yeah. But it comes out to just under 100 pages, so it can be printed in a short run of like 1,000 books, and still be really affordable for everyone. Not just on the Kickstarter campaigns, but can be affordable for people on the shelf too. Once we start shipping out to our participating stores.
What's the size of the artist edition? The same size as the comic?
92 pages.
No. That's page count.
Physical
Link
size.
by width.
6 by 9. It's 6 by 9 digest size, just like the comic.
Oh, okay.
But when you get all 12 of them done, and it's time to do that hardcover book, and do the hardcover artist edition separate, nothing to say is, if you've been successful with 12, go for that oversized edition there where people can really dig into the line work on that.
Yeah, Alexia was wanting to see if we could find a printer that can accommodate like a 10 by 15 kind of scale, like this big oversized art book. We've got a shop in Louisville, a big print company in Louisville that can do it, but we'd have to print about 3,000 copies, so we need to grow the audience a little bit more.
Contact the Studio Comic Express, my guy. I'm doing 2 Joe King books at 10 by 15, 120 pages each.
Studio Comic Press.
Yeah. What do you call RJ can bring it up on screen and put it in the chat.
I don't know where they're at. Put it in the private chat.
Ah, for crying out loud. I got to do clicking now?
Yeah, put it in the private chat. Then they can all copy it from there.
Here's how they do it, George.
What are we looking at here? Oh, well, hey, what's this? What's this? What's this? It's October, isn't it?
Yeah. You're going to be able to get to your Niobe on the shelf here in just a couple of weeks.
Does something happen in October, Larry?
Yeah. Well, this is supposed to come out. I mean, if it's not going to be late or anything. I tried to inquire when the exact week was. No one seems to know. So we'll find out when it comes out, I guess. But it's not too late to go ahead and order, you know. AUG 211-490 is my number. Don't give me a call. I won't answer. But go ahead and give that number to your LCS, and they can get some sweet Niobe in your hands for the low price of $4.99.
Do you wake up at night screaming sometimes in cold sweats, dreaming that you had a phone call from Ben Dunn saying, "Yeah, Larry, we just got a call from Mark Wade."
I wouldn't puss out like Zach did.
No, you'd stay till the judge gavelled, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, you know, I don't know if I could afford a lawsuit against Mark Wade, but I would certainly put him on blast every night I was live.
Yeah,
that'd be that'd be relentless. I would never stop.
Oh, yeah. The Studio Comics link is now in the chat there.
Sweet.
Sam.
Yeah, contact the owner. He's a good guy. I'm doing my book. Like I said, 10 inches by 15 inches. It's the first one he's doing. Actually, I got him to do to break comfort and do my book at 10 by 15. 120 pages, full color, and you know what? I got a video. Let me show you what it looks like.
Yeah, do that. And what was your print run on that, George? I mean, ballpark.
A minimum. He needs a minimum of 100 for soft cover.
Mm-hmm. 100's a lot better than 1,000.
250 for hardcover.
Okay.
But but already met the numbers for the hardcover. But the weight is going to blow the shipping.
Yeah. I mean, it'll throw it up by about the weight. It'll throw up by about 11%, 12%, something like that. Yeah.
George, I'm waiting for your screen.
Yeah. I'm getting the video. Give me a second.
Okay. The other thing with shipping too is if you're using USPS, the new rate hike just went into effect.
The October rate hike?
Yeah. It's in effect now. Yeah. It's in
Plus,
effect.
they won't ship to Australia right now
Or New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah. It went from $20 to $60 from No Way in Hell.
It went from $60 to $77 before it went to No Way in Hell.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like literally 2 days before.
The new postal rates, in exchange for a higher price, we're actually getting slower service for it. I mean,
indeed.
Well, that's true. We actually are getting slower service for it.
I mean, just domestically, it's expanded at least 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, unless it's
now
like
the price
from here to like 40 miles or something.
The price increase is only supposed to be temporary, though.
They're always temporary.
Right?
Always temporary.
But it never comes back down. Is the thing?
This is the holiday increase. This is the holiday increase. So they always do it from October to December.
Never really comes back down, though. It never really comes back to the previous rate. It's like, hey, we went up 11%. We're gonna come back down 10% after the holidays, and you're still,
Well, they just hiked it in August.
Yeah.
Because I had to redo all my spreadsheets.
Yep. I've got some more books to ship on Wednesday for Dungeons and Dames because I've got some copies coming in for me and a couple backers that haven't got their shipped yet.
That looks like Santa Claus.
All right, quiet, please.
Quiet on the set.
Quiet on the set, please.
We also got a comic from George Peter Gatsis, and it is Joe King versus World's Greatest Average Joe, and it's oversized, and I love these. It's like treasury size. Well done, my friend. Well done. Take a look inside. And it's cool as hell. And there's a ship, right? There's a ship. Did I just see the ship? I just saw the ship. There it is right there. There's a ship that he sent me the ship he sent me the ship, which I'll show you in just a second. My wife actually stole that to put it in her room. He also sent cards. I mean, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. He has an Indiegogo campaign. Again, it's Joe King versus World's Greatest Average Joe. It's George Peter Gatsis. And now I'll show you. Look at that. He did sketches in it too, right? So you got that.
Okay, in the book, in the front inside cover, there's a standard art sheet. That's the same as the comic pages, but in the back inside cover, it's an actual card stock artboard in the inside back cover.
It's a Bristol board.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
Watch
awesome.
As well. There you go. And now I'll show you the ship. And here is the ship, 3D printed. This thing is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Gary from Nerdrotic. You're awesome.
Yeah, I haven't watched Nerdrotic in a while. That's awesome that you got on there.
Yeah, and Harrenberg, you're right. Gary did used to own a comic shop. He sold it to
Yep.
I don't know the guy's name. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's known as, the whole, comics are doing great. And then he had to close one of his stores, and the one he closed was the one that he bought from Gary. So I'd know his name if I heard it. So yeah, the next both the Joe King books are going to be going out in December, right, George?
Yep.
Be shipping in December? Rough. That's
Wow.
that's some balls there.
Well,
Just
if they
getting
go out at the end
lost.
of December, maybe we can get the price back on the decline by shipping early January.
Oh, wait a minute. Are you telling me December prices are going to be higher than November or January?
Yes, they just went up.
They're all like, yeah.
They just went up in October for the holiday.
Right. Yesterday.
What's the price hike?
I don't know for media. I don't know if media went up.
No, this is not media. These
George is
are
in
books.
Canada. Everything he's going to be doing is international, man.
No. I'm drop shipping the books to RJ.
We're shipping them.
13%
doing his thing.
was the hike.
What's that? One at a time.
13% was the price increase.
Is that price increase on media mail also?
I think it was across the board.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
because I thought they just did it to like some first class postage and some priority. I thought they
No,
let.
I think it was everything. And here's the other thing too. With all the media being shipped through, I've had a lot of people that I know who are first, second time indie comic creators who are catching bills from the USPS for using media mail because the media mail restrictions have been reworded to exclude comics.
Well, they weren't reworded. They always said comics were not allowed.
Because they had a thing in there as an example where it says if it has a advertising, i.e., such as comics, that's been changed. They actually reworded that segment. It's on the USPS website. They changed the actual entire section.
Yeah, you have to argue with them that you're shipping a graphic novel.
Yeah. Good luck.
Well,
Yeah,
if they want to fight with you that you're shipping a graphic novel instead of a comic, then Scholastic is no longer eligible for library mail for all those graphic novels they send to me.
Mm.
So
It's going to be a mess.
RJ, I think Harrenberg answered your earlier question as who Gary sold his shops to there. Some guy named Brian Hibbs.
Oh yeah, Brian Hibbs, that's the guy.
That name sounds familiar.
I'm looking up the CNET article now. Yeah, they're not saying anything about the media. They're talking about parcels and they're talking about first class. So we might get lucky, but
Yeah. RJ,
Oh,
just curious here. The four guys at the bottom here, are these your LCS guys?
no, we have none of the LCS guys here with us tonight.
Okay. The way the way you kind of mentioned it earlier, like not your usual crowd. I thought maybe they were.
Yeah. The guy on the left is Tank Ferret. There's a guy in the middle is Kick-Ass Girl. The guy on the right is Druggy Hero, and the guy on the bottom, he's just a a guy with a lot of stuff in his basement.
That's mad. And that's a shot.
George, I actually known
hoarder.
and talked to some of these guys a
Hoarder.
few times. So,
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, we're the LCS guys. Like for Max, you go to his house and his store's in his basement. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Hey,
no,
RJ,
RJ knew what I was talking about. I'm talking about his Saturday show, whatever.
RJ, I just sent something media mail yesterday. There it is.
Yeah.
The starting price went up about 40 cents.
That's the price. The went up to that in August, and that's the prominent price.
Right. As far as the regulations, it's just if the clerk is nice, you're fine. That's pretty much how
that's
it works.
true too. Yeah.
Yeah.
If your clerk is cool, you're all
people
right.
aren't right, Sam. Once they stamp it, people aren't gonna, take they got other stuff to do. They're not gonna take the time to rip it open. And so make sure your clerk is cool. And if it isn't, go to a different post office. And also remember, thumb drives and electronic media also qualify.
Yes,
so
they do.
We can
as do
send,
DVDs.
We can.
I've been shipping media for almost 20 years now, doing this and doing it with another company before I was Critical Blast.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm all up on top of magnetic media and stuff like that.
And DVDs don't have they don't have advertisements like trailers in front of them.
Of course not.
That's okay. That's okay because those are house advertisements. They're advertisements for things done by the same company, which you can do in your comic book. You can advertise the other comics that you're making.
You can.
I do that plenty with mine. Yeah. I put all sorts of all of our ads inside of it. So.
Yeah. But the one thing I don't do with my clerk, talk to them about what I'm shipping. I'm like, here's the media mail. Boom. In fact, I just use Pirate Ship here at home.
Yep, that's what I do.
Print all the labels out and I say, there's a box of stuff, come get it. And they scan it and it all goes.
That's exactly what I do.
Exactly. There's no conversation needed. There's one one post office where the clerk is a fan of Clownfish TV, so sometimes we talk about that. But at the other post offices, you never prolong your stay there, just in and out. And
don't invite trouble.
Yeah, no, don't invite trouble at all. And the thumb drives are cool because some stores we ship to have TVs and like to play our videos. So it's cool to be able to put videos and comics in the same package and have it both be media. That's cool.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking of Pirate Ship, I just got the announcement for any of those who do use it. They've added UPS to their potentials. And,
nice.
And you don't have to say, show me the difference. If it's cheaper to go UPS will be the thing that they offer to you first. Now you can then say, hey, I don't want to do UPS. I don't know where I can drop it off at. I'd rather go to post office. You can change it, but
that's excellent because there's a UPS store 3 blocks from my house.
There you go. So you can choose to go UPS even if it's more expensive. But what I thought was cool was that if hey, I'm shipping this box and UPS, wow, that's new. I don't have to go to the post office if it's cheaper here. So
it's pretty awesome because I use Pirate Ship. That's one of my wife uses it for shipping her. She makes memory bears and quilts and everything like that for people. So she uses it to ship all those.
I love them because, of the whole thing where, you upload your spreadsheet and you include email addresses and they send an email address to the person you're sending it to saying, hey, you got something coming. Here's your tracking number.
Yeah. Stamps.com.
The only problem is I haven't figured out a way to do it with Kickstarter and their new add-on feature because each individual order has to be done individually because they're all different.
Gosh, let me tell you, Max, there's a fulfillment company that's run by an IT guy who's a database expert who did this for Florida Man, who saw that, you had item, add-on item, and wrote code.
Hey.
And silo it and then run it back up the flagpole to where it was just one line for everybody with everything was on it. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So.
Well, that sounds good. I'm Sounds interesting, and maybe someone that I would like to speak with in the future.
Yeah. Maybe if all he does for you is generate your pack lists, that might be.
Yeah. Seriously, that would be.
Could this gentleman be somebody who, I don't know, a lot of times Monday through Friday goes around helping other independent creators by having them on his channel to interview them? Maybe.
I doubt it.
I know that
couldn't
guy. He's an asshole.
Yeah, that's what I've been told
More importantly,
by multiple people.
Is there a puppet involved?
No, but we do have a Groundhog's Day special.
Oh, is that a real groundhog?
Look, Sam, it's your main character.
Yeah, well, this is the closest I can get to doing a Shay the Red cosplay for a comic book about the animals.
There you go.
This is Marmalade's second banana, Hedge McMahon.
Hedge McMahon. God damn it!
Does he say "you are correct, sir" a lot?
Yes,
you are correct.
Actually, he doesn't talk. I just have him go up and whisper in his ear and chatter, and then nod his head a lot. He generally informs Marmalade when he got a super chat. So, all right, guys, I think we're just killing time now. So,
well, I was going to say, if you wanted to talk about my
yes, of course we do.
My next project, it's coming up on October 31st is when it's going to launch on Kickstarter. It's called Human Hunters. It's basically your standard classic monsters, vampire, mummy, werewolf, those types of creatures. I wouldn't say universal, because we used the original. Yeah, we used the original literature to base these characters off of, but it's the archetype, yeah. And it comes out October 31st on Kickstarter. Let me put that there. People can sign up.
October 31st, Halloween, huh?
Halloween,
yep.
brother.
And we will be having a day one Halloween only special cover that we will be releasing, where I believe they're all in cosplay.
Ooh.
So that should be pretty super cool.
I'll tell you, I got to peek at a couple of these pages, and it's a badass book. It really is. It's a badass book.
No less.
Let me see here. I think I got some stuff to show. I got the pages. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, share that beautiful bean footage.
Yeah.
Bean from Pa?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so in the Frankenstein novel, the creature wanted to have a bride because Dr. Frankenstein, Victor, was getting married. And he was like, okay. And then as he's making it, he decided that he didn't want to bring another abomination into the world and threw her overboard in a storm. So we show that part of the story, but this is where it changes, is the lightning hits the water, and that's what brings her back to life. And she comes wallowing. Yeah. I mean, if you could build your own woman, wouldn't you? You're gonna make her look good.
Just ask.
You don't care what the dude looks like.
And then that's her coming out of the thing. We don't really have a whole lot of what we do have story to tell between these next 2 points, but we're not going to do it yet, because this is her in the rain, and then this is her. Her hair sticking up, and if you tell, the paintings in the background are actually upside down, so it shows that she's hanging upside down by her hair, or by her head, not by her head, but by this
Yeah, I get you.
Her
ponytail's hanging down.
Yeah, but her ponytail's hanging down.
All right, so she survives and becomes a pole dancer.
That's it.
Pole dancer, cat burglar, pole dancer, basically.
It's the thing comics are made of. Come on.
The economy's so bad, even the burglars have to have second jobs.
Exactly. Everyone needs a side gig.
It's hard
And
to find
they're-
good workers these days, you know.
In this comic, they're there to retrieve this vase, which is it was stolen during World War II, and they're there to pick it up to get it back to the family that rightfully owns it. And this right here is JC Black. He is our werewolf. He's a Blackfoot Indian or Native American, however you want to say it. And there's no lettering done on any of these pages yet. It is getting done now by SK, who's a fantastic letterist, by the way. If anyone needs a letterist, I highly suggest him. And then this one, they think the alarm's off, but it ends up getting triggered, and then it's time to go werewolf. And I love the transformation.
That's a great sequence right there.
That looks real good.
And that's the first
And
7
what a book.
pages.
What a book to kick off on Halloween too. I mean,
Exactly. We figured if anything, I mean, you got monsters, Halloween. It just happened to be about the same time. We actually kind of like delayed it a little bit just so we could hit Halloween, because we thought it would be really neat to have that special cover. I mean, granted, people won't get it on Halloween, which kind of sucks, but if there was a way to like make it to where people could pre-order it, we could get it out to them on Halloween, I would do that. But I don't.
people
I
buy
don't know
monster
that-
books all year long.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
an evergreen. So put it out there while they're thinking monster, and they'll pre-order that thing.
I'm still thinking about the pole dancing.
I like the pole dancing. I thought it was cool because at first we had it written in the script that it was kind of like Mission Impossible style stuff, where she was on the zip line zipping down and stops on top of the thing and picks the thing up, and then the artist was like, "Can we use like the girls that dance with the sheets?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he showed me a bunch of reference photos and some video, and I'm like,
yeah.
and I was like,
the Chinese acrobat.
Cirque du Soleil.
The Cirque du
yeah,
Soleil
yeah, pretty much like that. And I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Let's do that. So we ended up doing that, and it looked really well, worked out well. Sam was talking about how his book was about half of its action. I would say there are probably 4 or 5 pages in this book where there's not action going on of some sort.
Now, is that an issue or is that a full novel?
This one here is just it's an issue. It's 30 pages. It'll be a continuing series that'll continue to go on forever until we either just can't make it anymore or we decide to reboot it or do whatever gets done with it. But we've got tons of stories to tell with it, because this group of monsters, they're kind of like the A-team of monsters, and people can hire them to help them out. And that's why this family hires them to help get this vase back. Well, issue 2, a lot darker, not as just kind of fun, action-packed, aerial fabric dancing. Thank you, Herrenberg.
Yeah, there's so many monster books out there, and I keep when I'll see things like Six Gun Gorilla and Cowboy Octopus, and I'm like, ooh, when can they meet up? And when I see all the monster books, I'm like, it would be too huge of a crisis book if we could get all the monster books to cross over. If you could have like Monster MD and
Monster MD is a great looking book.
It is a great looking book, and
What
Bond's a
about,
good writer.
what about all the cryptids?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
that's just it. Get the cryptidnals in there. Get
SCP.
Get Graveyard Shift.
Yeah. All those SCP things.
Yeah, exactly. You just have like
And,
one big monster crisis.
King Cryptid from Pete Sametti, don't forget.
Yes.
But yeah, they're basically the A-team of stuff. In the second issue, they're a mobster's daughter and her friends end up getting kidnapped by sex traffickers, and they end up having to go get them back. And that's a much more it's a darker, more serious adult comic, but it's something that the writer Johnny Reed is really passionate about. This sex trafficking is a problem, and we don't want to force it down people's throats and be like, sex trafficking bad. We're just gonna tell a story about sex traffickers and then show that they're bad people.
Yeah, well, if he's passionate about it, I can't wait to read the story, because I'd rather have a writer write about something they're passionate about than write about something that they've got the right to fill in until the event gets there.
Yeah.
Niobe pages,
Ooh,
guys.
little Niobe page,
Niobe
yeah.
pages.
Look at that. So, look at that. I saw that special. You Sybil. Oh.
So how many pages of action versus non-action do we have in Exciting Comics?
This isn't from Exciting Comics. This is Niobe Origins number.
Oh, this is the Origins one.
This is like page 25 and 26 out of like the 35 pages we're doing.
Almost there. Almost there.
These are the two newest ones. So I'm giving you a sneak peek.
Nice.
They're not colored yet, obviously, but we're getting there. Getting there.
Juan is the man. That guy's as hard as
on the lawn,
Hey RJ, I don't know if you realize this or not, but I think this is one of those nights where you've had one of your most number of panelists for the open mic night. I think we've had 7 people here.
Oh, it's a record, yeah. A lot of people showing up.
Well, we decided to raid you. You know what I mean?
Well, good. Raid me more often, man.
That looks great, Larry.
It's important to support all
Larry's
the
art
guys,
here.
Well, I mean, I would appreciate a raid if you guys ever want to raid my show.
Check out Mike's channel. It's in the description below. He does every night he does the niche news, and every Friday he's digging into the Golden Age stuff.
Oh, are you gonna with the niche news? Are you gonna hit the IDW story?
I may have already. Remind me of what you're talking about.
Which one?
They're doing kind of like talent looking for IPs right now. They need material to put out.
Oh, yeah. I think I did recently cover one of the Bounding into Comics stories on that, where I guess Marvel and Star Wars pulled the licenses from
IDW. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they need some story content.
I did cover that.
I'll tell you what would look really good, what would do really well for IDW is Neo Tokyo.
Oh yeah.
Neo Tokyo would do really well. Would do a lot for IDW.
I could definitely submit.
I'm just saying, Max. Neo Tokyo, man, that's a bad book.
It was a good stuff.
Actually, another. Speaking of IPs and all that with the mainstream stuff, there it is. Another big story that came out within the past couple weeks here. There's a number of creators' families. Steve, the Ditko family being one, Enrico being another, where apparently they filed suit with Marvel to try to terminate the copyright. In fact, I think I mentioned that to you too, RJ, because I think you replied back to me on it during.
We were talking about this for a while last week, and I believe that the first court case or at least the first court rulings have sided with the Ditko estate. So
yeah, they did. So far, so good for them. If that's depending on who you want to side with, but for the Ditko estate, it was definitely a win.
Yeah, I mean it's a major story because it's like you got publisher versus creator. It's kind of corporate versus employee. In that, depending upon how the case is ruled, could really have a major impact on publishing rights and creators' rights.
Well, they actually used the Marvel method last time this was tried. They used the Marvel method as a defense, saying that too many people are members of the creative team when it comes to creating these characters. So no one person is ever fully responsible for it. And now that's the part that they've kind of tossed out in court with this last ruling, so that's why it's a big win for the Ditko family.
Yeah, What I think one of the things I know that I did read that they were talking about too. One of Marvel's defenses was, you may have already touched upon this, was that at least with some of the other cases involved here that's going on as well, that the artists and creators were like work for hire,
Yep.
and therefore there was no they actually didn't have standing to file. That was what Marvel was trying to argue. I think that was more with the Larry Liebert situation. I think that's the guy's name.
Well, yeah, and
No,
that's
my name is Higgins, sir.
That's just
Wrong,
Stan
Larry.
Lee's Mike. That's just Stan Lee's brother.
Yeah, Larry Lieber is Stan Lee's brother, and
Yeah,
if
'cause-
Lieber and Ditko are both filing at the same time to terminate the copyright on Spider-Man, that is the whole creative team. You've got Stan Lee and you got Steve Ditko.
Well, yeah, and the thing, one of the things I was even thinking about or marveling at when I was reading the story too. I mean, at least the way they're making it sound, it's almost like if they strip Marvel of the copyright, it's almost like they take the whole franchise out by its roots, because a lot of this is stemming back from when everything began, and everything was built off of what they began. It's like
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And it would be hard for them to continue unless they did like what they did with the Siegel Schuster situation. They made some kind of deal where they not only did they have to pay them, but
have to list
had to actually put that little disclaimer up that says by special arrangement with the Jerry Siegel family. You know, anytime
in comics and in movies and in everything.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's gonna be the story to watch for the next 12 months, I think.
I mean, it's going to change. It's going to force people to change how they word their contracts for certain.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to.
Well, yeah. I mean,
very careful.
Even somebody from my perspective who maybe isn't as deep into comics as you guys are, who maybe doesn't have as much the understanding of like some of the other little issues, like the business side of it or what have you. Even I could see how just absolutely maybe using the wrong word here, but how cataclysmic these cases are going to be.
Well, I don't know. They'll you know, like DC did. They paid the Siegel and the Schuster estates, and then almost immediately they began distancing the Superman brand away from what Siegel and Schuster created, which is, you know, one of the larger reasons why Jonathan Kent is becoming Superman, because there's no Krypton origin. There's, you know, no Clark Kent, and you know, obviously he's going to be gay as well.
Yeah, that's all weak. That's so ridiculous. It's a weak move.
Yeah, but it gets them away. It allows them to say, this isn't the character they created. This is a totally different character that the company created, and we're using the company
based off of the original.
Well, yeah. Speaking of course of the original Superman and stuff, RJ, as you know, I read like Superman Champion of the Oppressed a few weeks ago in Action Comics #1, and I'll be reading War in San Monte this Friday when I start up the June of 38 coverage. I'll be reading that. One of the interesting things about that first Superman story from Action 1 and 2. Originally, that was designed to be. That was originally going to be going into the paper, the newspaper, not into the comic book. They ended up having to actually kind of redo it to put it into comic book, because originally it was originally in newspaper format.
Yeah,
and
folks,
it.
What Mike does on his Friday show is he's basically, if you've ever had somebody come to you and say, hey, I want to start reading comics, where should I start? Mike just said, well, I guess I should go back to the very beginning. And he's been on Fridays, he's been going back to like Famous Funnies, all the Centaur publications, and just reading from the beginning. And it was 2 weeks ago, I want to say, that you got up to Action Comics #1, and it's like,
yeah, it was about 2 weeks ago. Yeah. In fact, let me see. What was the? Yeah, it was the 17th, because remember I was promoting it big.
Yeah,
I was really talking a lot about it because I knew I figured a lot of people would have wanted to come see that, because it being an iconic, you know, having somebody give kind of a fresh take on it, you know, commentary. Right? I mean, I basically read read 3 of the stories in there, including Superman Champion of the Oppressed, the Zatara story, and and of course before I read the stories, I kind of went through kind of like some basic like powers, abilities, all that.
Mhm.
But now granted, I don't try. I don't necessarily. I'm not gonna. I don't sit there and try to read every single comic because that would take
It
way
would
too
take a
long.
lot.
But I try. Basically, I did this in part because we have a lot of people who are souring on the current scene, and granted, indies are like picking up a lot of steam, but there was a lot of good stuff far before this SJW garbage. You go back, if it's like to me, at least from my perspective, I like the idea of watching how things kind of evolve over time, right?
Yeah.
What
Or
and that's
devolves.
yeah, that's part of the reason why I went all the way back to like 1933 and been like doing it from there ever since. And as RJ just mentioned, I got up to Action Comics #1, back on the 17th. We just completed the May 38 coverage, as I said the other day, which I focused in the other day on David McKay publications with Ace Comics #15. Now, granted, like for some of these companies, from my sources, sources I do have available, they don't have per se have the copies of the comics themselves. So sometimes I may have to just simply read like the summary from like GCD, Great Comics
Oh yeah.
database.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
And then I'll give now I don't just read the comics though. I'll also read through notes. I'll give some commentary on certain things where like even when we were talking about the Superman story, and we talked quite a bit about the whole situations around like Siegel and Schuster and their whole situation with DC and stuff like that. But like when I read the comics, I'll also give some running commentary, like we talk some like word usage, because how they may have written a story back, let's say in the 30s, and the way syntax, word usage, grammar, it's somewhat different from what what you might see today, and that's but also seeing certain things like what I was talking about earlier. I know most of you weren't here earlier when I was talking about this. One of the things that we talked about the last couple of weeks, back up my co-host and I were talking about, was how we realize as we've been reading through some of these features and stuff like that, how today you get a lot of this talk. Oh, we need to have women represent more. We need more diversity. We need more. More women being represented. This and the next thing. There were in no matter what genre you want to put it, whether it be the pulp genre, action adventure genre, humor, slice of life genre, you had quite a number of strong, very capable female characters in comics. From the, as I was saying earlier, from the action adventure side, you had like Sandra of the Secret Service, Sandra McLean of the Secret Service, Dale Daring, Hope Hazard, Myra North.
There were a ton of them.
Yeah, and then when you look at the humor side, humor slice of life side of it, you had like Fritzy Rich, Ella Cinders, Lollapalooza, Dixie Dugan,
Blondie Dagwood, or Blondie Bumpstead.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And it wasn't just the women either. It wasn't just the the adult women. You actually had some little girls who were quite the characters too. Orphan Annie Rooney, Little Linda, Mary Mix-Up, Nancy from Nancy and Sluggo,
Fritzy Ritz's niece.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, the story, now for me, I wasn't one who grew like. For me, my venture into comics actually came from cartoons. I turned 46 this coming Thursday the 7th. I grew up watching, like, one of my favorite cartoons of all time was Super Friends. I was watching Super Friends when it was in syndication in the
No
80s.
Clutch Cargo.
I look up Clutch Cargo on YouTube, Mike.
With the mouths and the
Yeah, it was cartoons that ran on television. It was literally a cardboard cutout of a face. The guy's lips were up against it, and the mouth animation was the guy's mouth talking behind the cartoon picture.
Yeah,
it was freaky. But yeah, the Super Friends, and a lot of people will talk about the 90s X-Men. Those were cartoons that made you seek out the comic books.
Right. And that's pretty much what happened with me. And then I got into it, and I, like, DC was my thing. So, like, I wanted to, like, and I've explained this to RJ before, but, like, for me, I'd often imagine, well, what if I happened upon access and he gave me the chance to go into the DCU? Well, if you ever feel like that, whether it be DC or Marvel or any other comic universe that might be to your liking, if you ever want to venture into the universe, one of the things you want to obviously do is learn everything you can. That's basically what I did. Now initially I was doing it for myself, just doing the DC, and I'd, like, look through the synopses and try to figure out timelines, ages, lifestyles, all that good stuff. Really taking it to. But I figured, okay, well, if I'm going to do this for everybody else,
Well, why don't you ask the creator to send you a pirated copy?
What?
What, too soon?
Not to shill and run, but I gotta go put my kid to bed.
Yeah, I gotta put mine to bed too.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Well, we've been at this for almost 2 hours here. So.
You guys joke. Mine's sitting here, standing at the door, holding her little bunny at
Well,
Mike, this is what you need.
RJ, what is that?
But I gotta go. Peace out.
What is
everybody.
that?
Peace out, guys.
There, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. This is the DC Comics Who's Who Omnibus Volume 1.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. I would.
Yeah, you want to know stuff?
Wait,
Just-
whose art is on the cover? Is that George Perez? No, who is it?
Yeah, that's George Perez.
George Perez art. I recognized it immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is basically the same art that was on the original Who's Who's. I think they just kind of cut and paste the characters out and repurposed them.
Well, he's really good at, like, obviously drawing 40 character pages anyway.
Oh yeah, and this thing is obviously it's ginormous. It's a brick.
Yeah, it's a living encyclopedia.
What is it? 1,200 pages?
Yeah.
How many pages?
What is it? 1,200? Something like that.
1320.
Yeah.
That's
Actually, one of my resource sites, RJ,
Yeah.
I think is literally called Who's Who, and that's, like, all the list of their birth dates and stuff on it.
Yeah, the Who's Who was. I loved that thing when I was younger. I made sure I got every issue of it, and then they went on to the updates, and then they got to where they were selling the 3-ring binder and the 3-hole punch pages that would come out wrapped in shrink wrap once a month. I'm like, I don't know now. Do I open the shrink wrap and take it out of mint condition? I'm sure that pages got ripped as I put them in the. I've still got the 3-ring binders. I just don't have the Who's Who pages anymore in them. But I do keep other stuff. Anyway, like you said, Mike, we have been at this for 2 hours, so we should wrap this up now.
Right. RJ, if I can have a few minutes with you afterwards.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for.
Hey, Sam, anytime, man.
Thanks for
Anytime.
the
Heroin
show.
Burst, same with you.
47.
Definitely.
Yeah, why don't we give everybody a chance to do, like, one final plug or what have you for what
Plug
they want
away,
to do.
and Sam, get with us when you launch, and we'll have you on a whole show just for 47 Cent Furious Tales.
Cool. We're live until the 30th, and then we'll be fulfilling in December. So, the next big exciting book is in January with Reign of Ages, which is our all-girl fantasy adventure team.
I want that here too. I've got Thursday open this week if that's a good time for you to just come on.
I actually am booked Thursday. I do have an opening Sunday for this week.
Sunday? Sunday is this show.
Oh well, yeah.
But we got Friday, Saturday. I think we got Saturday. No, Saturday's the LCS guys show, I think.
Yeah, I'm booked through Saturday this week.
Yeah.
Let me see what I can do about the following week.
That's fine. Just DM me on Twitter. We're Critical
Cool,
Blast.
cool.
We're easy to find.
Yeah, I've got you guys there. Yeah, I've got you guys there and on Facebook and everything. So yeah,
Perfect. Yeah, I want to do the whole show on 47 Furious Tales and the rest of your stuff.
Do you have the print copy?
I have no print copies. No.
Oh, we need to get you a print copy, man, because you're missing out. You're really, really missing out, man.
Again, DM. We'll make that happen.
Cool. But yeah, guys, come on out to 47 Furious Tales issue 3 and the Artist Edition 1 on Kickstarter right now.
All right, Heroinberg.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to post 47 one more time. Yeah. Congratulations, Sam. Looks good.
Thanks, man.
We have our book in over 180 stores around the country. The list is on our website. We actually started making custom videos for fans, fan-written episodes that are not necessarily in the canon of the universe. So you can call them our personal what ifs, but imagine if it's kind of like a cross between Dial H for Hero and What If, right? Mm-hmm. And we made 2 of those so far, and we're going to be filming 2 more of them this month, as well as working on our 20th episode. Go to heroinberg.com to download our episodes and find out where our comics are sold.
Very cool. George.
GeorgePeterGatz.com. Get the book before I go to press. It's going to be one of a kind. I'm not doing a second printing of the oversized books.
Oh,
George, are you thinking ahead yet to the next book?
Already have. You want to read the script?
Not right now, but I just want to know that you're doing it because I know that nobody can get the spaceship, nobody can get the thick green girl.
The first campaign had Joe King diorama, and a couple other stuff, and once the campaign's over, it's done.
Yeah. So I didn't know. I wanted people to know the next time you launch so that they can say, damn, I missed all that cool stuff before. I don't want to miss it this time.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll have something awesome or something awesomer. I'm not sure yet.
All right.
A little 3D printed space station, maybe for the scale.
Okay. You haven't seen my spaceship, eh? Okay.
I do. I have seen the spaceship. The spaceship's badass. I'm thinking maybe.
No. Did you see the actual?
I've seen the 3D printed stuff. Yeah. No, I haven't seen it painted up.
No, this is not painted.
That's not painted?
No, this is the. Make me big, RJ.
I'm trying to find my mouse.
This is the actual plastic.
Oh, okay. I've seen the 3D printed stuff. I haven't seen this. This is
This is the actual plastic. There's 300 pieces that make this ship up.
Damn, that's awesome.
And that's the standard sized one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like a space station to go along with the ship.
Scale.
It's a scale.
There's no space station, but this is the.
Nice.
This is the oversized. There's the size difference.
Mm-hmm.
The oversized are for the people who went for the big reward.
That thing looks like you could take the front panel off and put your Star Wars Kenner figures in it.
Jeez. Give me a second. Yeah, it's so big. It's like I got
what she said.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Yeah. So. Oh, here we go.
That is really nicely done.
It all just slides together and snaps in.
Yeah, it's a real cinch.
Now, see, I've only ever seen them assembled. Did they come in the model kit style, or did they come pre-assembled?
No, they come assembled. These are the masters for which I make sure that when I'm making all the copies. That I match against.
Gotcha.
Oh boy. RJ, did you see Jazz Crab's comment there?
Oh yeah, yeah. He saw that shoddy Canadian craftsman ship.
Yeah. This is also another thing that came with the campaign.
That was the cool one too, because that one's held together by magnets.
Oh no, I didn't do the magnets.
No,
This
okay,
is going to be static.
okay.
It's going to be static. I got the little one here. There we go. Give me a second. Here's the little guy. Oh, where's the cape? Give me a second. Here you go. Here's the little guy.
That is a little guy. That's almost a Lego minifigure.
Yeah, you drop the cape over it, the head over that, and then the hat.
Nice.
There you go. Right, there you go. Right in the light. Right in the light.
George Peter Gatzis toys. I mean, GeorgePeterGatzis.com.
Yeah, so this is this is just like the big one.
Same pieces. You just scaled it up. That's all you had to do.
Oh no. It wasn't that easy. When I did the scale up, a bunch of these pieces had to be redesigned.
Oh.
Because originally it was this size, and when I scaled it up, the gap between the pieces, it was too great. I had to redesign the scale up version so the gap was closed in.
Yeah, you made the gap bigger when you made everything else bigger.
Well, yeah. So I had to go in and actually, a lot of the pieces that are for the little guy are actually unique to this. If I try to scale the small pieces up to the big guy, they'll just fall off. They'll fall off.
All right. That is so cool. I'm glad I got in on that one.
And this is one of the panels.
Oh, you're actually doing comic book work. Oh, look at that. And it's rastered.
No, this is Illustrator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is.
There's the raster.
And swoop right to my face.
There we go. All right, and of course the mic stand. We've got the link a couple of times out there in the chat, and also pinned below. Mike, what's coming up this week?
All right, so now normally I usually do niche news Monday through Thursday, and then the historical comics retrospect on Friday. Lately, of course, I've been also, aside from bounding into comics, I've been also doing, picking up some of the stories from your site there.
We have to do more stories.
Yeah. But now tomorrow, though, however, we're gonna go away, and we're not gonna do the niche news tomorrow. One of my guys was suggesting that maybe I should start writing for Critical Blast. Not that first off, I'm not really sure if I have that kind of writing chops for like report writing like that myself, but I did a few years ago start up a story that I did kind of intend to try to make into an anime at some point. It's like much like Hideaki Anno with Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's like one of those things I started and then lost interest and went back to it. Kind of just So what I'm gonna do, as per request, I'm gonna read what I've written on that tomorrow night. Spend a good chunk of it reading that story.
Very cool. You should find somebody in your crowd there that does illustrations. See if they can't do like some panel illustrations for it.
Well, maybe. I mean,
then read over the top of the illustrations.
Yeah. Also, aside from that, of course, Fridays are our historical comic retrospect, where I'm joined by my co-host, Batgoat. We go through, as I was saying earlier, we go through the comics. We read some of the stories to give samples of what was going on back then. For the next 3 weeks, and I told you earlier that I do have the rest of the year planned out, which I do. I won't go through all that right now, but what I will tell you is at least over the next 3 weeks here, this Friday the 8th, 15th, and the 22nd, we'll be covering the comics that went on sale in June of 1938. This Friday, we'll be focusing in on DC. We'll be reading, selections from Action Comics #2, kind of, as I said, the War of San Monte, Warren San Monte from the Superman story, as well as Tex Thompson's story as we begin a 3-issue arc, The Sealed City, which introduces us to Tex Thompson's first major recurring foe, the Gora.
Ooh.
And then we'll also be reading from Detective Comics #17. We'll be reading the Slam Bradley story, as well as Speed Saunders, and then of course the 15th we'll be focusing in on the comics that went on sale from Dell Comics and Centaur, and then on the 22nd we'll be focusing in on comics that went on sale. Well, the one comic that went on sale from Quality Comics, Feature Funnies #10, in which we'll be reading The Clock, or as Bat Note likes to call him, Captain Napkin Face. And if you want to know why, you got to come to the show and check out what we do.
Check out The Clock.
I don't just simply read the stories. I do give some commentary on it. We do have a pretty good time of it too, and Batgo's a pretty good co-host. He's got a wide range of field to add to the commentary. He's into like aviation history, military history. He's also a former corpsman. So he wears all these different hats, and so you get all that commentary. You kind of, as we look at it, as I said, as I'm reading the stories, I go over, maybe word usage, some social commentary, obviously, some comparative social commentary. How things were back then as compared to how they are now. A little bit of everything. I really think if you guys did have a chance to drop by and check that out, I think you really would get into it, because it is kind of a deep dive into comics history. I always try to take everybody back to that time, and really make you feel like what it was like to read those comics, and find that wonder, that all of us look to when we get into escapism. So I know I've rambled on a bit there, but
we all do. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for popping in on our open mic night. Don't be strangers. If you got projects coming up that are needing some promotion, Herrenberg, you're putting out books all the time, and we need to have you on the show some to focus again solely on your work.
Sure,
Sam,
I'd be happy. Yeah.
Yeah, Herrenberg is making us all look bad, putting out stuff on time and whatnot.
Tell me about it. He's that kid in class who blows the curve, and makes everybody else angry. So
he doesn't make it look easy, but he does make it look good.
Yes, he does. All right, folks in the chat.
We know it's not easy.
Folks in chat, thank you so much for showing up tonight.
Because you're yelling.
Okay.
Who is that? Who is that in the background?
That was George getting yelled at.
Oh.
All right, folks in the chat, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. We don't have a show without you. Please do check out the links below the video for not only the links to our guests' material, but also those Amazon links to go to the books that Critical Blast publishes. And we'll be publishing another one in the near future. We're looking at doing The Devil You Know Better, and we already have works in the work from Mike Barron and Hart D. Fisher will be included in that compilation. So it's already in the works and underway. Listen for more news on that. And as always, we just hope that while you were here, you had a blast. Good night.